Oh, there's a meeting here at 8, right?
I hope so. I saw Heather. She's coming.
Oh, man.
We have to go back to early 1900s. You'll find Tim in a picture.
I know, I was looking at that. Yep. Right there. Nice. What is it, 98? I love this picture. I love this picture of Gary.
Oh my. Stay quick. Wow. 83. Oh, Jane was mayor then, huh?
Back in the day, I think it's the only. She was the first woman mayor. I don't see another. Maybe the only. Unless there's been one since 2010.
Wow. Mike Fenner looks hippie-ish.
I know. I got the big mustache rolling.
A little muff duster there, you know? How's business?
Good.
Good.
May overrun me this year. I'm trying to put some work in this winter to make sure that doesn't happen, but we're going from
Hey, Ron.
one extreme to the other. Hi there, how are you?
Good. Do we want to? It's just going to be the four of us, I think. I talked to Ray, and he didn't sound like he was going to be able to make it. Michael's
Hey.
going to come down
Good.
too. And the password changed. That's why I couldn't get on the other night.
The password changed.
Yeah. So I don't know. He can get on to it.
It's J.
No, it's a semicolon.
Semicolon.
Yeah.
Expect you to be very enlightened this morning.
Yeah. Yes, we need to get the cushy chairs. Those hard chairs are not ones to sit in for several hours.
Oh, I did not make it to the office yesterday. My first
Really?
order of business this morning is to
Get to the
get your
office.
email.
Yeah. Vaughn's going to do a swimming
Oh, hi there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good chair.
I'll probably go in the way, I don't mind sitting here.
That's all right. Okay, sure.
I'm pretty excited.
Me
Doug is
too.
even excited about it.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Why don't you come on up?
I didn't want to take up too much space.
Oh, there's just the four of us, I think. I don't think Ray's
All
coming.
right. Squeeze in this side. That's no joke. You hitting the heat night?
Yeah, I'll keep it down for the off hours. Oh, no key. I guess I'm not.
Are we on or?
We got red lights.
Oh,
We
cool,
are
red
on.
lights, here we go. All right, so today is
It's the council chambers?
council chambers 5G.
5G?
Yes,
Is that what it is?
Wow.
there's 3 different flavors. There's 5G, well, 5 megahertz and 2.5 megahertz
What is it? 1 second.
channels.
Get booted up here. So if anybody's watching at home, we're glad you can join us. Everybody wave. And we're all booting up to get online. This is a committee meeting for the Communications and Media Committee, which is usually Howie, myself, Michael's here as Assistant Town Manager, Denise is here, note taking, and Ron Woodruff has also sat in on the meeting today. All of our computers are sleepy, I guess. Right? Yeah.
It's all that snow slowing down.
Yeah. It's not going any faster than yours.
Yeah.
I went home and got it. I didn't even leave it in my car. like, oh, it'll be too
Yeah,
soon.
it comes. Updates, no wonder.
I was just gonna.
Oh,
Yes.
don't you
Love
love
that.
that?
Microsoft isn't. It's usually the way it is though. Please don't turn off your computer.
Yeah, so we're going to talk today about making some changes to the town website. We already talked to Michael briefly about the economics of either changing the platform or changing the format. What is it called? It's a
The template.
template. Thank you. And changing the template within the office.gov provider that we already have. It seems very costly at the moment to do that, so we're going to focus our intention on making changes within our existing website in order to make it more user-friendly and have information on there that is easy for people to find and clean up some of the older information that's on there. If we ever. Did you get yours to work on?
Yeah, mine's working.
Okay. You're still updating.
Yeah, I'm still updating.
Mine's still thinking about being awake.
Tell you keep these things out of the cold too long. Sucks the battery dry, you know?
All I did was walk out to the car with it.
Mm.
So while those are loading, I know I'm playing catch up here, and I asked you, Heather, briefly, could you kind of give a sense of, I know questions were brought up about the limits on number of email accounts on the
Right.
piece and like cost, and I'd love to hear a little bit about where the town is with costs in terms of what the provider currently costs in order to, what services they're providing, from security to formatting
Yeah, I think
to
Michael could
those types
answer
of things, and
that question.
then what the other cost considerations were when it went out in terms of changes and so forth. That'd be great.
So right now, our yearly cost for the website, which is 2 gig storage space on it, is $600 for the year.
Mm-hmm.
And we get 2 emails with that, and all the others cost $50 each per month.
Per month.
Per
Holy
month.
crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and then,
Yeah, so it's almost as much for
that's
the
crazy.
website as for the emails. Yeah.
and that who's that provider?
The company is Avnet, but they're branded as GovOffice.
And what are the features of what they offer that are attractive to the town of Pittsfield
Okay.
versus another provider?
They are layman available, I would say. It's all drag and drop, and it's set up in a template, and when you add things to it, it's all It's done with drag and drop and click. There's no, you can go in an HTML code, but it's not set up from the beginning to be done that way.
Yeah.
There is no access to the style sheets, so you can't like make a bunch of
Customize
divs
things.
and customize it
Yeah.
like you would a normal site.
Yeah.
Even as far as putting images up, you've got 2 sizes to choose from.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very limited in that respect.
Yeah. And is there a certain, as far as like, is there something that they offer for municipalities that's different than, reason why the town would go with them versus going with a traditional hosting service? Like,
Yeah, we got a discount when they started their service.
that was
That
the,
was why we went with them.
How long ago was that?
I think like 12 years, somewhere. It was a while ago.
Yeah, how many emails do we have altogether now?
I'd say probably 10.
Okay.
so you're saying in addition, there's a $400 per month. So in total, it's like $5,400 a year, is that right?
Yeah, about that. Although I talked with them Friday, and that's what they quoted me, but I still haven't checked that contract because it doesn't appear we're being charged that.
Okay.
So I have seen the invoices, and the invoice was for 600.
And then what are the, it sounded like you all had looked at potentially doing a different format, doing a few other pieces.
Going to a different hosting
What
service.
were some of the cost estimates that you had for that?
GoDaddy has a business service that I believe was $10 a month,
Mm-hmm.
and it had basically the drag and drop that was similar. I'm not sure what the size limitation was or templates to choose from or any of that.
Does that include the SSL certificates?
I would assume so, but I don't know for sure.
And then I believe that GoDaddy would also allow us additional emails and not charge per.
Yeah, I have a website and I have unlimited emails on my website that comes with it.
Crazy.
Most services do that, but I think when you get into the business realm, the dollar signs go, and so everything gets boosted up.
Yeah.
I think there's probably a lot more marketing that they do to businesses also,
Mhm.
like, because we have a .com, which would be a business type
Mhm.
one, and they're always calling and being like, oh, breathe and do this and do that.
Mhm.
So I think there's a lot of upselling that they do, but if you go in knowing what you want, if it's a targeted goal, then
Yep.
I think that can be kept to a minimum.
So government office isn't doing any search engine optimization. Are they doing any security piece, or is that on the town
No.
as well?
They have security in their server.
They have security in their
Yes,
server.
they have security features in their server. It's firewalled.
But in terms of, okay. Yeah.
They probably all have to have that, so.
Yeah, so the server is not an Exchange server, so we're finding we can't do out of office. Or well, we can do out of office, but we would have to do it through rules in Outlook and keep Outlook open 24/7.
That's for the
to support
government op that you have now?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a POP3 server, not an Exchange server.
Well, and it's difficult changing passwords and.
Yeah, we have to go
Managing
through
of-
them for everything. We're not managing it ourselves.
So if you need to make a change, you have them do it.
Yes. Yeah.
And the turnaround isn't always expeditious.
Yeah.
And what is so is the budget number from a line item for dealing with all of this, the emails and the internet, just based on what's been paid thus far?
Yes. I haven't looked too deeply into that. But
Yeah, we didn't put any money in the budget for increasing services are changing. I mean, this just kind of came after the fact.
Yeah.
So what do we have, just a
We're
line
looking
item
to-
for $5,400 or something?
I didn't bring my
Yeah, I
budget
don't
book
think
with
it's
me.
that much. Like I said, I haven't seen invoices for as much as they quoted me, so
Well, there
it's not
was-
making
There was
sense.
an invoice in the last
The
one.
last packet of invoices that we signed off on at the meeting was $900 for emails.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't know if that was a full year, I hope.
Maybe it's per year rather than per month. I might have been wrong about that. I'm
Okay,
not
I don't
sure.
know. I was looking at them quick.
I know that I saw a $600 one for the website.
Yeah, so I would think that if we were gonna make changes that we would wanna be within, I mean, we might be able to pull money from economic development because Catherine says this has a huge number of hits with people looking about events in town and stuff, so
It should.
I would think that it would fall under economic development if we wanted to make some changes to do it that way.
Mm.
And that is where we budget the website for.
That is already in there,
Economic development,
economic
yeah.
development.
And did you find out if we actually own and can port the domain name?
Yes,
Okay.
we do own the Pittsfield.org domain name.
And what have you all had kind of discussion, just kind of big picture in terms of what the goals of the website are for the town, in terms of kind of broader, it sounds like access to information is one of them, but in terms of like, you know, so I have a number of business websites and
Mhm.
a variety of things, and we always look at, okay, who's our target audience? What are we trying to communicate? What does this do for us that the in-person doesn't do for us?
Sure.
How are we, you know, where do we want, when people are searching for things online,
Mhm.
what are the things that they're searching for that we want to be, you know, targeted as and so forth?
Mhm.
I'm just wondering whether, has that been a part of the discussion thus far in terms of that, or has it been mostly a,
I think we've
The
gone-
I-
store
I-
clouds? Okay.
Yeah, we've been doing it ad hoc.
Yeah.
Like I've made a number of changes since I started managing the website, but
Yeah.
no way. I mean, I've been trying to take stuff off to free up space so that we'd have enough space to put the tax cards in, and that's what I thought would be like the next big project, was to get those on. Still need to talk with the new assessor to see what the process flow should be for that, because we have 1,300, 1,600 tax
Right.
cards on, and all of a sudden he starts making changes, now we're out of date.
Right.
So we gotta come up with some process for that. And
Mm-hmm.
just,
Do we have enough memory for that?
yeah, I figured it out. I did the first map, and I did all the cards for that. There was 13 cards on the map. And I did the multiplication, and it's gonna be about 0.9 gig to put it on.
About half of it.
Yeah, just under half.
And we're
Right.
currently carrying what?
Right now, we're at 0.4 gigs. We were at 0.7 when I took over.
We've got
I've
to.
been deleting stuff and capturing everything, and as I delete it, so that we don't lose it. Because a lot of the wording for ads and stuff that were from 2006, we could probably use again.
Yeah.
So,
So do we want to kind of start with what Ron said about a broad discussion about goals for the website before we go into like the nitty gritty of what's on there now and what we would want to see on there? Is that going to be our driving conversation today? I went through and I just went through every tab and looked at what page came up, and then I just made notes on what I was seeing and whether or not I thought it was either valuable or needed some changing. And for some of the formatting, it looks like it's been done at different times that things have been adding, so the text isn't the same, either font or size, so there's a little bit of that going on. And then there was some just things are spatially strange in a couple places. And then there's a lot of information in there that is very old, like 2006, 2004, that we can certainly have like an archive page to get it off the uploading, you know, every time.
Got it, minutes and agendas from 2000,
Yeah, and those are
12
good to
or-
have on there for people
They're
to
good to be
reference.
available.
But I don't think that they need to have a prominent, like everything, if there's a document or a series of documents, it's just a list of documents that you have to go all the way down through it. Instead of having like a folder that says 2018, 2017, you know, just to tidy it up a little bit.
Well-
And to put, if there's a way that we can link or put them into merged documents so that agendas for a meeting and then the minutes for the meeting are together instead of having two different places. Right now it's set up that, well, the council ones, there's two different places you have to go for an agenda and then find the minutes after the fact. So if we can put things together, you don't have to go the three steps that we were talking about to find things. It would make it a little more user friendly and time efficient if people are going back and finding things.
So the third step of those three steps is putting it by year. So it is kind of in that format.
Well, right now, well, I mean, we
If we
can
go
talk
to the
about
agendas.
specifics later,
Yeah.
but yeah, just, I mean, I think Vaughn brought up a good point about, you know, what is the goal of the website and, you know, what jobs do we want it to be? There's a lot of, obviously economic development because it's an easy way for people to interact with the town without physically being here or making a phone call. So that would be one big thing, I think, economic development and making people aware of the businesses that are here and opportunities for business. I think would be one.
Yeah, I mean, my initial piece would be just, I think the conversation should be a stripped down start conversation, honestly. Because we've actually looked at this, so I think it was probably 3 years ago now. We started with Heart of Pittsfield look at, do we set up, there isn't a digital asset that the town of Pittsfield has that really highlights the value, right? Like if you yeah, we were starting to do that, and
Yeah.
then my schedule is insane, and so it would be, if I was sitting in an airport somewhere, I would chip away at it. But we have, like, the comprehensive plan does a really great job of cataloging the assets that we have, from the high school to the parks to the library to all of that stuff. And as a community, given where we are from an economic development standpoint, the need for that and the desire to fill industrial park sites and to bring young families here and to build tax base and so forth, I feel like the website really is our best opportunity to do that. And we have a ton of great visual opportunities, right? So Mark Schubert, who's in Heart of Pittsfield, done an amazing job of just like capturing the pieces of Pittsfield from a visual aspect. And the reality of the web is that text is not, I mean, text is great if you want to research back to find a meet, you know, I do that every once in a while. I'll go back and look at the meeting minutes or the agendas or things. But as far as interface, the website that we have now is very text heavy, which doesn't lend itself to any of the economic development pieces, nor does it lend itself to people kind of coming in and then exploring more. And we have a somewhat unique perspective in that, like, I search a lot of town websites because we're in need of pull permits in a bunch of different towns, and so, you know, the navigability of various, we see kind of the various navigability pieces that take place in terms of what is greeting you when you do it. I mean, I pulled up the town of Skowhegan's right now just to kind of, you know, I think we as a town, if we're gonna, as it comes to economic development, really have to think like a business, right? And say, okay, who are we competing with, right? Like, not that we have to be cutthroat with a town like Skowhegan, but Skowhegan, for instance, is a town that's in our region that has some great assets like we have. And so how are we, you know, how do we compare to that? You know, and how do we, I was just pulling up. You know, so like you come into Skowhegan's website, and it's right up in front in terms of, you know, it's an entirely different, entry, right?
Looks more like a desktop, like it looks more like somebody's desktop computer.
Right.
You know, so it's much more inviting than municipal.
And I mean, for us as a business, like the things when we just went through a big web redesign and been working with a digital marketing company on it, and our, you know, the piece that I always said is, I want, when they wanted to do a bunch of the stuff for SEO, and my big piece was, when people come in, I want them to, number one, feel comfortable when they enter the website, like they want to look some more. And then to convey the pieces about us, like our professionalism, our commitment to this, our commitment to that, and so forth, just from the visual layout. And I think right now, the website that's there is really limiting in that respect. I mean, it's a great website for 10 years ago. I mean, that was like what the structure was, and I think that's probably, when did they initially, when was this company first engaged, do you know?
I would expect 2003, 2004.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, and it was good for them. That's a lot, obviously image speed and everything has changed and the ability to do that. And I know budget is a concern. I mean, usually if you say we're going to do a new website, it's 20 grand.
Yeah.
I would love to see the town. I think there's the opportunity that people recognize that this is an opportunity for the town. Like if someone came to our business and said, listen, we're looking at revamping the town's website, we're looking at highlighting this piece, this piece, this piece, this piece, like I would say, okay, what do you need in order to make that happen? And I think there are other folks in the community that see that need. And then, so what I would say is I think it would be worthwhile, as opposed to starting with what we have, which I think the data is good, right? Like
There's a
Heather's,
lot of data on there.
right?
Yeah.
Heather's pointed out,
It's a lot.
but it's good data, right? It's like the
Yeah.
town like the agendas and the minutes and all of that stuff are important for
See,
transparency.
See, but it's
and
not
be able to-
prioritized from the point of view of, what do you want to project for the town? I mean, you got a list of tabs to choose from,
Yeah.
and they're all the same, and really, where do you find the information that you're looking for?
Right. It's alphabetical too, and I think that's where you get where it's not prioritized. It's alphabetical. So
Yeah.
if you want to find town departments, it's all the way down under T for town departments.
Yeah.
And you've got to know what you're
Departments in the
you've
town.
got to know what
You
you're
gotta know
looking for
where-
too.
That's where your
Exactly.
information is. I mean, honestly, when I first moved here, it took me 25 minutes to figure out when the transfer station was open because I just was looking everywhere trying to find information about it. And just looking, some of these can be, I think, combined together. I don't think that they all need an individual tab. And that would, it's very listy, and people, it's the front fold of the newspaper is
Right.
what they're looking at, so you gotta get all the important information in the top first half of the page that you're looking at, and the banner takes up literally a third of the page, so you're losing all that space that you could have the important information up on that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, the categorizing typically what we've seen is like 5 to 6 menu categories, and typically in the header is where you see a lot of the interface that goes on with websites.
Pull up the town of Milo, Maine. We're going to do the Black Fly Festival this year, so I pulled up the town website. Couldn't find any information on their website about it. But they have a nice it's nice, it's neat, it's clean. They have important things at the top. They have other information on the left-hand side under tabs that can be opened up. They still have a little blurb about the town, not the entire history. We have a lot of history of the town on the website, which is interesting, but I don't know if we want it taking up all that space. And there's a calendar, there's office contact information right there. Upcoming events is listed. They have the calendars and stuff at the top as well. It's neat, it's clean. There's a couple nice photos on there. And they use office.gov too, so this must be one of the newer templates.
Actually, I'm not sure. It doesn't look like one of the new templates that I've seen.
So maybe it's an older template, just a different
Yeah, I
version.
think so.
So, and there, there's like Greenville, and it's a very,
Yeah.
and they just kind of get into, and that's what.
See, that says a lot about that town. It tells you we're on the water. It tells you we're on the mountain, near the mountains. Look at our commerce area. We've got nice wide streets. There's rural houses in the background. I mean, that says a lot about that town, and it looks very inviting.
Yeah. And there's, and I mean, we've got like, Mark's, I haven't talked, I mean, we started we discussed it with Mark when we were getting
Yeah.
the website stuff going, and that was, I mean, he was open to figuring out how to best catalog that and lend his expertise to that, which seems like I think it's a pretty unique and rare opportunity, just that like you have somebody, like no one for my business says, oh, we're gonna offer 100 high quality photographs of the work that you do for you to use to market what you do. I'd be like, that's pretty sweet.
Well, it might be nice to have like seasonal pictures.
Yeah.
So like, I try to keep up with Facebook and changing,
Mhm.
Yeah.
sometimes it's nice just to pop something out in the feed because it's just out there, hey, we're still here.
Mhm.
But to have, even a seasonal opportunity for
Yeah.
changing the picture, I mean, maybe it's, every quarter this picture goes up, or maybe next year it's different, but yes.
Right. The,
And you have a front page with a flow of pictures, that's.
Mm-hmm.
the slideshow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A slideshow type thing,
Yeah.
That's the new templates.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
But I think that it was like 9,000, I forget how much the upgrade was, it was
Well, without
substantial.
the
Yeah.
6,000 to migrate, and then 2,000 per year for the new
Yeah.
template.
Yeah. So I guess the question would be would we want to stick with this, or knowing what the budget constraints that we have, for the same amount of money, would we be able to kind of port some of this information over to a whole new site, domain, and everything that would be less costly going? I mean, it might be a hit this year to get everything switched over and staff time to do that, but would it be less costly in the long run than spending almost $6,000 a year on the website and be able to have extra email capacity? Because I know that's something that comes up again and again. The counselors, I think, would like to have I would like to have
They
a District 4 town counselor, townpittsfield.gov or whatever, email address, so I don't have to use my personal address.
Yeah.
And the water sewer guy should have his own, the advanced, everyone should have their own email address just for within the office, privacy communications, as well as, as well as that, type thing. And that's something that's come up with the police department. I think they only have one for all the patrolmen.
Yeah.
So you can't send a notice about somebody's health insurance, something,
Right.
to the email,
Mhm.
to be able to forward documents or something like that.
So Pete is looking into a service.
Right.
I think he's pretty far down that road.
Yeah.
We have considered staying with the website and just moving the email to a cheaper provider, so that, because we have about 50 or 60 emails we need beyond what we have now.
Mhm.
If we were to do every single full-time person, every single council member, every single committee member, because there again, with committees, you guys are
Right.
sending back and forth information that,
Yeah.
will fall under the Freedom of Information Act,
Sure.
and so in theory of that, also having the
Mhm.
disclaimers at the bottom that says, hey,
Yeah.
the way this can be shared,
Yeah.
these types of things, so,
Right.
yeah.
The other thing
Right.
we found with our service is they're telling us that once we download an email into our Outlook, they no longer keep a copy, which flies in the face of everything I've heard about emails providers.
I mean, it's,
Hmm.
Yeah.
But supposedly-
If we're truly spending $50 a month for the emails that we've got right now,
Yeah.
above 2, and that, if that truly comes to, $4,000 a year, it'd be 400 times 10, actually $4,800 a year. Can we just migrate the emails to a different platform
Well,
and?
yeah, that's what we're looking
Yeah.
into lately.
Because that would create some savings based on, depending what the platform is,
Yeah, it would.
and security that's
Whether
given
whether
for it.
it creates, any savings per se, from a security perspective and a freedom of information type of,
Mhm.
perspective, I think the town is more protected, and the counselors and the employees are more protected, which I think is a major issue,
Yeah, I'd like to see our email provider have backups for everything.
Yeah.
Once you've downloaded it, it's out of our hands. Outlook is absurd.
Yeah, I'm not sure that
Yeah, and, well, this is from the tech support people. That was
voice from tech,
I guess.
yeah,
I mean, was she a website tech
I don't know.
support?
Yeah.
That was not knowing about her email? I don't
But even
know.
just the ambiguity is
Yeah.
too much. But it may be cheaper if the emails are considered to move on to somebody else, it may be cheaper just to do it all at once. And maybe instead of migrating and trying to convert what's there now, maybe it's just a fresh start. You know, and
Yeah.
then even if you keep it, there's definitely opportunities for archiving. So something from 2002 that's available at town office may not need to be out on the website as part of that accumulative, content that we have to manage. If it's maybe 5 years previous, maybe you decide 5 years ago, anything before that comes off, and going forward you roll it out. So the next 12 months happens, the next 12 months comes off.
Well, we have had requests to digitize all of the minutes
Yep.
back to the beginning. Ron wanted that, and he wanted it on the website.
Wow.
It's like,
Yeah. Well, the Historical Society might end up with its own
Right.
website. I don't
Yeah.
think they have their own website now, but that would be a place,
No.
for the historical portion of things, that would be someplace for that to live versus on the active town website.
Did they
Should
meet
be
on
with
Sunday?
like 24 months.
Did they meet, do you know if
I
they
don't
met
know
on
if
Sunday?
they
Because
met
it
on
was,
Sunday. I had other plans, so I didn't
Yeah.
keep up with that, and then it snowed. But no, I mean, I think there's value in that, but also, I think you're right, that if we have stuff on here from 2002, I think having our current year and 2 years prior available, because there are things that have come up in council, like snowplow contracts or whatever, we can go back, because those follow, like, I think the most contracts we do are like 3-year contracts. So if we could have that information available on the website, that I think would take us back far enough. And one of the grants that I was just looking at had said you have to keep the information for 3 years. And then after that, you don't even have to keep it anymore.
Yeah.
So I would say 3 years on the current year plus 2 years back on the website would be plenty. And then we have everything digitally available for recent history, like I would say since we started putting everything on computers and not typewriters available through the town office.
Yeah.
And we have a separate server, right, that would all be stored on.
Yeah.
So that would be easily accessible if somebody does need information further back. They just need to make a phone call for it. And we can put that notice on the website too. Anything prior, call the town office, we can send it over to them. And that would cut down on a lot of stuff on the website as well, and free up space.
Yeah.
So I guess we have to look at, do we want to recommend that the town definitely gets a different email situation, just from the cost standpoint, as well as being able to provide emails to all the employees?
well, I'd like to see that as a, if we can't, make the quote unquote changes that we want to the website as it exists with the template that exists, and it's too expensive to migrate that right now, okay? Then at the very least, let's start with, prioritizing the email, security and information, and further clean up the website. But look at, what the possibilities are, in the next several months that are other templates or migrating the website to a different provider, so that we can get what we want. I mean, if this company is if Avnet is the best company around to do this, fine. I mean, if GoDaddy is or somebody else is, then let's get what we want and prepare that for the budget for next year. If it's not available in economic development for this year. But I think we need to you know, getting input from folks like Vaughn, who has a business, you know, as well as a citizen. We need to get input from other citizens in town and other businesses in town. You know, how do they want to present themselves? You know, what's important for them, for their customers to see on our website. You know.
And that brings up one of the things that I had noticed when I was looking at the website, the business directory. I don't know how, I had questions about how accurate it was, whether the business listing, whether the information is up to date. I saw a couple new businesses that are listed on here, which I'm assuming it gets put in when they get their business license.
Yeah.
But I didn't know about, you know, things that have been listed for a long time. If they, I don't think people notify the town, because you don't have to renew your license every year. So if they go out of business, there could be incorrect information on here.
Definitely.
As well as, like, my address is wrong. I know, that's why I'm like, oh, that's all right. You know, things like Bangor Savings Bank is still listed at Somerset Plaza.
Yeah.
So things like that just need a little bit of tweaking. And then I didn't know how detailed we want to get as far as, you know, like Big Bills is listed, it says seasonal, but it doesn't give like May to October, May to November. You know, do we want to be able to provide that whole, you know, what do the businesses need and what can we do? You know, this is pretty static, but it's a gateway to their businesses. And what do they want their hours on there? Do they want a description of their products and services? AAA Energy, you know, that could mean anything. It could be repair. It could be they just do gas service. AmeriGas, I don't even think they're in business anymore. I think they got bought out, didn't they? You know, so it's like things like that. Like, is this listing of their information serving the businesses in any way?
And is there a way, I mean, you get, they give emails for a lot of these, but those that have a web page, you know, there should be
have a
kind of
web
links, a link to their web page.
Yeah.
Right. Or I mean, what I would look at too on that count, which I think is a totally awesome point, Heather, is like thinking holistically at other entities that do this work, since Pittsfield's not set up to do it, like Google, right? Like Google My Business is becoming like the page that's almost more important than people's websites at this point. Like our digital marketing folks are basically putting all this effort into getting us Google reviews, getting the information on Google My Business fresh, like putting posts on Google My Business. And, you know, so I also run Lancy, the old school. We've been looking at trying to make that a small business incubator support hub with the idea of instead of, I mean, so where I'm going with this, instead of the town of Pittsfield hosting a page that it has to maintain, perhaps it would be more relevant to have like a Google plugin, right, where on the website it goes to Pittsfield businesses, it goes inside of it to a Google map that shows businesses in Pittsfield, and then an effort's made, the town of Pittsfield says, listen, we're going to engage Somerset County Economic Development, whatever the entity is, to have a Google by Business seminar. So if you want presence on the website, we're going to support you in how to make your presence on our website stronger, which is also going to make your business stronger outside, because our website is not going to be the place that a ton of traffic comes to your business, but by helping strengthen your position on our page, we can also bring in the tools that would help. And there are tons of you know, it would be easy to get somebody in here to talk about Google My Business. I mean, we could, you know, we've talked, like I said, we've talked about having seminars and things like that. If there was like a cohesive effort that was like a public-private partnership to say, how do we do this? And we did this with My Maps, with Google, you know, what was that, 6 years ago? Like every street in Pittsfield was messed up. And we had what was called a map up, which was we got together like 12 people. We sat over at, I think the town had tried like 3 or 4 different times to get those numbers fixed up. And we just got 12 of us together. We sat in the library at MCI. We went through, we found different addresses, we fixed them, we went through, and all of a sudden, within a couple of weeks, Pittsfield,
On the map?
yeah, you would end up going to Bangor Savings Bank, and it wouldn't be down. A ton of them were right at Hathorne Park, right? And so it got that all corrected. So, and I think that there are some ways that we can, and that was just like a, you know, it was just a group of people in the community doing it. And I think if this group acts as a facilitator as well, and just like, you know, how could we do this? That might be a way to knock out a couple things. It justifies just like the economic development piece, like it justifies that piece, and there's a lift of just bringing in the resources that the town has connections to, like the economic development arms, and bringing those in. Because I mean, you look at, I just did like Pittsfield Maine businesses, you know, and just what Google has for that. It gets to their websites, it shows where things are. You know, I would imagine if you click on some of these, you're going to get a, you know, Google My Business piece where, right, that's their Google My Business piece. It shows all their different ratings and all of that stuff. So, and those things to embed in is just a little bit of code. It's not super complex.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I like the idea of having workshops for businesses, because we had talked about that and floated that idea last summer or the summer before, when we were talking about the theater and using the theater as a venue for something like that, to have like an economic forum and have different speakers come in, and that would be something that would be really great and very visual, because you could put, I'm assuming because it's a digital projector, we could tie in a laptop and have someone up on stage walking people through, you know, how to do that while they're there. Kind of a how-to type thing. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay.
Because I mean, yeah, and I just think getting that out of the hands of the town. Because I mean, I don't know if people have complained, but I could see, I've seen it happen through the heart. I saw it happen through the Heart of Pittsfield piece where they did their local business thing, and someone wrote some snippy thing about, well, great, thanks for not including us in this, and it's like, it's a bunch of volunteers, just let us know. We'll get you in, kind of thing. But it does set up that dynamic that it puts it on other people's shoulders to do. And it could just be as easy as you want your business to be prominently listed on our website. Here's how, right? And then it kicks into the.
That's wonderful.
That's a good idea. And it creates more, you know, it's building skills with people too at the same time. And really not everybody might have a business that they need that type of presence, but it's certainly going more that way, that if you want to find services, you know, Googling, I mean, it's the thing to do now. So that was just one thing. So I don't know, so we basically want to start with pursuing the emails, and then maybe look into doing a workshop for businesses, or maybe getting feedback from businesses about, or would that be later on down the road after we figure out the formatting part and things like that?
Well, I would like to see what the possibilities of formatting are, okay?
Yeah.
And maybe, you know, that would be something that you present to the businesses, that, you know, what do you prefer, and kind of get their input as to, you know, this is available, etc.
The availability, I mean, to me is somewhat limitless. It's just a matter of fun. I think we should be driven, the town should be driven by what it wants to get out of its website, and then from there to work to say what does that. Because there are I mean, there's whatever they're using, there's WordPress, there's Weebly, there's like, there's a ton of like front end, it's, you know, interfaces to get it done. And I think it makes sense to say, like, you know, what do you want to.
I think the town, you know, currently, you know, is presenting itself, you know, I mean, that they've got the theme that we're business friendly, and I think that's important. But I also think that, you know, what we're not projecting in this website is that we're family friendly. Okay, you know, the future of Pittsfield is really, you know, as a residential community. Okay, you know, we want to attract people to fill the houses. We want to show them the availability of the parks. We want to show them the availability of the waters and the rivers, you know, the ski slope. You know, how many towns of 4,000 have their own little ski slope?
The music
That's
programs
crazy.
in the schools.
It's
right?
crazy.
Like,
Programs in the
Yeah.
schools, you know, the boat launch, you know, that we're projecting for next
Mhm.
year.
Some of that is in there, it's just not cohesive.
See, but that
It's
should be
not-
what's up front.
Yes.
Yes,
You know,
yeah,
you
it's
know,
kind of hidden
and-
in the other tabs on the side, it's a little bit here, a little bit there.
So
and-
that means we need
Yeah.
to change the template, you know?
Yes,
and
absolutely,
the format.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, maybe, you know, we need to be thoughtful about it, but I think, you know, changing the emails is certainly something that is relatively easy to do and decide, let's do it, okay? But I think that, you know, Vaughn's point is, what do we want to project for the town, you know? And my perspective after 30 years is that this town is not going to be will never be a thriving manufacturing center for shoes, wool, eggs, or whatever, you know, right now. But, you know, we're becoming more residential. We're becoming more farm-oriented. We're becoming more family-oriented, you know?
And we're becoming older.
And we're becoming
That's-
older,
that's
you
a
know?
huge
So,
part of
you know,
it.
we got to talk about, you know, what are we doing for, you know, affordable housing? What are we providing services? You know, we've got a transfer station that does an amazing job, you know, of recycling, you know, and everything, you know, and there are things that we could do with that are even better, you know, and I think that
Pushing the green community.
yes, yes, and I think that those things are becoming more important to people that move to Maine.
Especially since the economy's changed from one where it's based on
When,
where the business is located,
Yeah.
and now it's to
It's-
I
yeah.
can work if
What-
I've got access to the internet. I mean, Ray Bertholet's running power plants in South America out of the second floor office of his house, right? Like, and we're going to
Yeah.
track, like you're saying, what are the assets that attract those people to come
Exactly,
here?
exactly.
Totally.
you know, and I think that's where we need to go with the website. That's what to me, that's what needs to be projected,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Right. If you're sitting here and you end up on a Pittsfield website and you see world-class ballet, right, as an image that pops up, you say, what the heck is that, right?
Yeah.
If you see a ski hill, you say, what's that? You say, oh, hospital? There's a hospital?
Yeah.
Oh, what is that?
How many things like this would you find in a town of 4,000?
Right.
You don't.
The airport, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's just like, how do you, and that's what I get at. What we had when we did this, we just said, we don't even need to create the wheel on what the content is. Like, the comprehensive plan has basically has like the asset portion of the comprehensive plan that lays Manson Park, all of that stuff. And I think you're dead on, and that's where we were going with it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is a lot of that information is already on the website. The very first tab is if you click on Pittsfield Quality of Life, then it's all about, the very first paragraph is all about manufacturing and our commercial districts and overlays and the overlay districts and planning and stuff, and the workers that live here, unique town size, the theaters mentioned, MCI is next to last paragraph.
See,
Community minded civic
but-
organizations,
but-
and then it's just links to development facts.
Right, but today, people are visually oriented.
Right, there's not a single picture
There's not
on
a
here about
single
quality
picture
of life.
Quality of life.
There's
Yeah.
nothing there.
What's that emotional?
So-
Yeah.
What's that
What's
emotional
gonna
story
what's
that's
gonna
told
pull
with
in?
photos?
Yeah.
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 And pictures will take up more content as far as storage, just saying,
Right.
like, I'm
But a
absolutely.
picture's worth 1,000 words.
But-
It
so-
is, but you also be mindful, just saying, some people don't have necessarily the speed for
Yeah.
download. So in my experience, when you hit a page that has 10 pictures and I'm only bringing down, enough to load one in the first 20 seconds, I'm probably not gonna stay on the page.
Yeah,
Probably gonna go.
yeah.
Just,
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have to be 10, but
No,
there should be
but
at
I
least
agree.
one here, of either a park and nice photos. Not, I mean, we have some on there that it's which one is it? It's a picture of one of the buildings, and there's a telephone pole in the middle of the picture with, you know, it's just, you know, the pictures that are on there are very much somebody went out and snapped a picture versus, you know, let's show our best foot forward to the outside world and not like our utility pole in front of the town office building, you know, that type of thing. That's where I'm going with that, you know, because that picture you pulled up of Greenville, what a beautiful shot. It really shows like the town opening up beyond the hill and the lake and everything. And we have beautiful shots like that available to us, either through Mark or other, you know, it'd be great to have a spot where community members can post, and maybe do that on our Facebook page, where community members can post pictures that they take around town. I see a lot of sunrises,
Yeah.
you know, on my way to Farmers
I'll
Market.
bet you
I can't
do.
tell you know, how many times I've wanted to pull over on the highway and take a picture like off to the east in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
See, when you
found on that, but
when you hit the tab Citizens Resources,
And so
that one, it
it's
just,
nothing.
it's a link to
Yeah,
an
that's a
outside
new tab that
thing.
we don't have much on yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
And,
mean,
and I'm
you
not
don't
sure,
need it.
should we put tabs on here that don't have information or links on yet? You know, we need to
Yeah.
create the information, you know, and then create the tab.
Yeah,
But
the
I-
intent was to flush it out, I just haven't been
I
able to circle
understand.
back to
Yeah,
it
And,
yet.
and heaven knows, you've got more on your plate than you can handle,
Mhm.
both of you. So, I fully understand.
Yeah, the other thing that I noticed too is that we need to have a unified message. It's not only, you know, what message do we want to project to people, what image do we want to project, but we need a unified message. Just in looking in here, I saw so many different logos. Pittsfield Tomorrow, a vision for the future, or a good place to call home, or there's something special going on here and it's only going to get better. And then the town mission, there's 2 more things there. It says to provide a safe, attractive, affordable community in which to live, work, and play. It's kind of wordy. You know, so there's a lot of different messages and logos within there. And I don't know a lot about marketing, but I know you should have a single message. You know, it should be
From some branding.
consistent
Yeah.
from page to page, you know, the fonts shouldn't be changing, and that's all nitty-gritty stuff, but it's part of the whole image of the website, of, you know, that it's neat and tidy, and
Yeah.
sometimes saying less says more, or makes people want to know more, type thing.
It appears that things have just been added on,
Yes.
added on,
Yeah.
added on over
And
the
that's how a
years,
lot of
and-
websites get built, you know, and it might be one person or multiple people adding to that too.
Mhm.
There's a lot of the town history on the website, which is interesting. But again, should we have the town history and have the Historical Society have a separate site hosted separately?
Mhm.
The library has a separate site. Do we need all the information about the library on here, or can we just have a link, click here and have a picture of the library, click here to go to the library and open it
Yeah.
up to that? Same thing with, don't even get me started on the theater one, but same thing with the theater. They have their own website. It's horrible, but, you know, should we have all the information about the theater on here? Probably not. We can just have a link, click here, you know, have a little movie ticket, click here to go to the theater or something like that.
Mhm.
That it takes them off to the site right off the bat. Or not off, because I'm trying to think, some of these links, yeah, so this opens up the link, so you go stay within the web page. Sometimes there are links that take you outside of the web page, and then you lose to where you started. So this is good that it keeps you within our page. Things like the Egg Festival is a huge economic event for the town. A lot of the information is outdated. If you click on it, it's the 2013 art show photos, the 2013 window painting contest. A lot of the things are out of date
Yeah.
on that.
And the text says that the next Egg Festival is on in July of 2018.
2018, yeah, yeah. So it's things
Right.
like that. We already know what the date is for that, and so we should have that up because
Yeah.
everybody's seeing it. Our website says last Egg Festival, you know, doesn't know when the next one is. And if you're coming here and you enjoyed it and you want to make plans with your family, how do you make plans to come back?
And getting to what you're saying, like you have to, it's easier to maintain a house that's built with one plan as it is
Right.
to maintain the house that in 1953 you built one section.
Yep.
I can't imagine like trying to trace down, you bring that up in terms of those dates. I think about our website, which I think is somewhat comprehensive and cohesive, and like the thought to be like, oh yes, we have to go back and change this piece or that piece.
Yeah.
And with this, it would just be, I would be in the fetal position in the corner thinking about like all of the, right? Because there's
Yeah.
not a solid, like a site map, right? Like that's
Yeah.
usually where you start with a site map. And if you look at the site map of this, it's like the tree that we haven't pruned for a long time, right? And it's, and this is a big, I mean, this is a big project. We started looking at this, as I said, and we had some great input, and then it's carry through, right? And
Yeah.
some of that's really paying somebody to do it. But the other piece is that I wonder, I was pulling it up as we were looking at this before, is that MCI has introduction to HTML5 and CSS. They have a ton of different language stuff. They've got advanced placement computer science stuff. They've got computer science lab. I mean, this just screams to me of like awesome bringing the school out into the community of just like,
Yeah.
you start with saying like, what are some best like doing some research. What are the best practices for communities? What are the websites that we go to where it's like, right, like the Greenville, this photo shows all of this stuff, or oh, this nav is really dialed in, and this, and then kind of bringing that, and I saw it with Warsaw, right, when they did the trails piece across from the transfer station, where they said this is what we want to do, and they brought together that whole plan. I mean, the high school level seems like it would be doable to have them do some legwork to start with, because they're going to get something out of it regardless in terms of the research if you can engage those folks in it. And then, but the big piece is having the plan and the backup plan when they come back, because I see a lot of school groups come in with ideas, and they come in and it's like, okay, let's give you your ribbon, you did your presentation,
Yeah.
and it's like, you want that to be a tangible piece, right? So, and I think if it's done well, right, if it's done well with leadership and expectations for whoever's facilitating it, and this is assuming the MCI would do it, but we do have a lot of educational institutions outside of Pittsfield from KVCC that has a lot of this stuff too. It seems like a great opportunity to do that and to have people do the legwork, because everybody here has got other things that they need to do, but this is a pretty critical.
Yeah.
And like I said, it could cost, if you were just to hire this out, it could cost $20,000.
Yeah.
And even if you did that, I think it would be worth every penny to do that, honestly.
Yeah.
Because you get one family that moves to this town because some emotional connection that it had through that website. You're going to recapture a good chunk of that investment in terms of the delta between the $20,000 and whatever we'd be paying otherwise, just in terms of tax base and the stories that go out and all of those other things. So economic activity. So
we have been working with MCI on a few things.
Yeah, how's that
I've been
going?
working with Vladimir Ortiz, who is the director for JMG program over there. And the end of this month, we're going to be doing a walk through the town offices and discussing each job function and what everybody does, and I hope to go over the town council way of governing and all that. So I'll pick his brain and see if, since they do have website programs, that we might want to do something along those lines.
Says Tiandra Welch here is their computer science teacher. TIANDRA, and then it's just T Welch at mci-school.org.
I think too that as much as we're sort of technically in competition with neighbors and regionally, I think also that regionally working together,
Definitely.
because maybe they're gonna live in Pittsfield and they're gonna work in Skowhegan, or
Definitely.
maybe they're gonna live in Skowhegan and wanna work in Pittsfield.
Yeah.
And so I think there's some opportunity there regionally too.
Awesome. Yeah, I think so too.
I'm not really familiar with their organization, but Somerset Economic Development Corp, do they have a website that kind of features each of the towns type thing?
I I don't know if they
I don't
do.
know
Christian
if they do.
Savage took Heather's job there, right?
Yeah, I haven't had any.
And I know
contact with
Christian
them.
used to work over at the Mid-Maine Chamber. I know him through there, but I don't.
Because that's one thing, it's not only, you know, our website and what we're promoting on, what are you doing? What we're promoting on our website, but, you know, how are we portrayed on other people's websites and through other things, like KV Cog and, First Park and things like that, like what is our information going out on all of, because a lot of people go to those websites too, and it's what is our information that's on them.
And guess what it is?
That's it, just a list of.
Our
It's
website.
just our website.
It's our website,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
I didn't know if they had a little
that's
blurb.
The link to the
Somerset
website.
Economic Development, yeah. So again, yeah, I mean, I
Well, they
think
just got a new website, 'cause
Yeah.
it just rerouted me to a new website with maple syrup on it.
yeah, and it's under there, our impact communities served. Right, and again, and they're using, right, and they're using the photography, right? There's the Brewfest or whatever
Yeah,
over in Skowhegan again.
They just got a huge grant from the state to expand the Bread Cheese Brews Festival from 1 day to like 2 days and like all day.
Somerset is, Skowhegan did, or?
West Somerset Arts Council puts it on,
Yeah.
so they got the grant in coordination with Main Street, Skowhegan.
But there may also be grants available through this process. Now, I haven't looked, I don't know, but,
Right.
you know, there also
Yeah.
may be opportunities out there. I don't know if you've
Mhm.
seen anything like that.
Yeah.
I've got a few grant watch lists that I try to check and keep up with, but, you know, they definitely have like some digital archiving opportunities that I saw last year, we'd missed the deadline for, that I'm not even sure we qualify for, but
Yeah.
there's definitely opportunities out there even for grant money for some of this.
Well, there might be other non-profits around that provide services, like does KV Cog do any, are you familiar with the services that they have on, or? I know that they've done some planning for us, like Joel did the sidewalk plan, and they helped do some of the documentation for the comprehensive plan. I saw some of that. I saw them listed in that, but I don't know if this would fall under their government services type thing.
Yeah, didn't Joe Greenwood do some work also regarding bike paths or bike routes?
The bike paths, the walking routes, he did
Yeah.
the mapping and all of that. So it might be an opportunity to get help from them, technical help at least, as far as either best practices or maybe services that they can provide, or they might have resources that we can list on our website, like the citizens resources thing, like that took an outside generic link for veterans housing, but it didn't have any local, it didn't help if you just moved to town and you need help finding housing for your veteran husband or father or somebody else, then and you want to bring somebody else in, it didn't really help you find that, but they might have services that we can tap into for that. Under municipal services, they have environmental management, community planning, joint purchasing, GIS and mapping, community and economic development,
That's what I was looking at right there.
brownfields, grants. Community, would this be considered community planning, or is that just physical?
Yeah, it's not, I'm looking under economic and community development. Under community planning, they have some stuff in terms of just kind of, mostly that's comp plan.
Land use and stuff? I don't know if the GIS services that they would have would be useful or not, but it's an idea. I think we have some of their maps already with our natural resources in the comp plan. Some of their maps, and that would be Joel. Digital tax maps. Hey, here we go. They offer digitizing for your tax maps.
KV Cog?
Yeah. Yeah. Development of sustainability analysis. That's all land type stuff, visual impact assessment. So that's if you want to get a wind turbine. So it doesn't look like they have anything as far as digital services,
Mm.
at least not for like the website, aside from the tax maps. So I guess we should kind of think about action items and what to do next. So definitely start with looking at the emails and changing providers for the emails for the website, just because of the cost and the fact that we want to increase
Yeah.
the numbers of emails that are available. I guess that kind of falls to you because you're
Yeah,
the
I'm looking
webmaster.
into that already, yeah. So do we wanna, like Vaughn was saying, decide on what the focus of the website should be? Because right now I see it doing a number of different things. It's an information hub for people.
What people,
It's advertising.
like what people, so what's the information, and that's what I guess, like what people, who are the people that it's the
Okay,
information
well,
hub for?
Like I said, the tax map cards that we want to put out, that would be servicing realtors, insurance people, or people looking at a certain property,
Mhm.
interested in coming here. We already have the tax maps up, but they're not indexed or anything, so you gotta look at the main map first and then drill your way down, kinda. But that's what you would have to do in the office anyway, so.
Mhm.
We have the tax commitment books for both real estate and property. We have the agendas for meetings and minutes. So that's the information hub aspect. But we also have the advertising Pittsfield aspect. So I think maybe that is probably in most need of update at this point.
Hmm.
Um,
And who references who right now is referencing the council stuff? It sounds like, I mean, I look at it as a planning board member when I want to go back and look at something. And it sounds like you do, Heather, from a council perspective.
Yeah, I've gone back and tried to find things.
Do we-
It's under public notices, I
Yeah.
think?
Do we-
Public notices.
Do we have analytics tracking on stuff so that we know like whether it's
keyword-
someone from Pittsfield that's searching that page versus somebody from outside of Pittsfield?
No, we don't have any of that.
Really?
No.
We can
analytics
tell the
at
number
all.
of hits, that's about it.
Yeah, I mean that would be, I mean from my perspective, like that whatever happens with the website, that should be like primo priority is to find out
Because that's
who's
where they're going for information too.
and where they're hitting
Where
us
they're
from. Is it from in Pittsfield, and then you know that 80%, you know, if you knew 80% of the folks that are on there are from Pittsfield, that gives you a different scenario than if 80% are from outside of Pittsfield and looking at it for.
Yeah. To set up Google Analytics, I
Yeah.
need access to the head of part of the web page, and I don't have that.
And they don't, yeah.
So do they offer that as an additional service, the AvNet?
I don't know, I can inquire. I just know that I don't have access to that now. So I can't put JavaScript
Yeah,
on for
totally.
things, I
Yeah.
can't even go into the style sheets.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, my frank assessment on all the information that's presented is that government office, AVNet, is not serving the needs of
No.
what's happening. And even if you change templates, it sounds like
yeah.
you're still going to have limitations.
Unless I can get
Yeah.
access to those things, I mean, maybe
Right.
there's a non-templated service that they have where I can have access to that.
But that's
Yeah,
getting
that would-
into, everybody would need to know HTML in order to make
It
changes.
goes
and
back to the
those
bare
things.
bones, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a difficulty,
It's a double-edged sword.
because not everybody has that skill set.
Yeah.
But it's possible that someone like GoDaddy would measure the engagements and beyond the hits, and it's
Mhm.
also possible that, with GoDaddy, I know that it's more layman. So let's say
Absolutely, yeah.
Mike's out for a day, one of the ladies in the office need to make a change or something comes up or whatever, you can actually go in and it's more like push here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Get it
definitely.
done versus
Kind
some
of
of the
real time, do it
admin.
in real time, yeah.
Yeah. So
You-
I thought that,
'cause it seems like you want two pieces. You want like the static,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like you'd said, like the advertising Pittsfield, you kind of want to be static. You want it to be user friendly. You don't want people in it. You want analytics to be able to follow that. And then you want the dynamic part, right? Which is someone in the office
Yeah.
needs to put up a meeting, right?
Yeah.
Or someone needs to put up whatever. And I mean, that's the beauty of, Google Calendar, for instance. Like the various things that are out there is to be able to, there are a bunch of services that make that pretty straightforward.
so I have the Google Analytics. I never look at it, but I have it for my website. I don't remember having to do any HTML anything just to get Google Analytics on. I think you just put the website address in.
I thought there was a block that
There
you
is
put
like
up
a-
into
yeah.
the head, a script.
I think there is. I think you have to put like
You
a,
have your API
Maybe it's
key and all
a-
that.
Maybe it's a drag and drop thing that goes into it automatically.
what do you use for your,
I have squareup.com
Yeah.
for my
yeah, a lot of
website.
those.
So it's probably automatic to,
Yeah,
like a widget or
Yeah.
whatever it is to plug in.
totally.
Okay.
Or they might have it just in the settings where you go ahead and put it in as a API or something. But yeah. And then hearing from the outside, it sounds like, the emails are a priority and that's an easy lift,
Right.
right? Because
Yeah.
you've identified. This other stuff just, it's,
It sounds like
It's
the
a
emails
6-month
definitely need to be separated from this
Mhm.
service, just from the
Mhm.
cost standpoint, and be able to get those up and running effectively.
And can you clarify, Mike, whether it's, the emails are $50 a month or $50 for a year?
Yeah, I'll
Because
look into
that will make a difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna
How
look up
quickly
our
the
contract
library
anyways,
Yeah,
because when they were saying we start with 2, that sounds awfully low to me.
yeah.
Yeah, for a
Yeah.
municipal website,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it seems a little wonky.
I think there's, and outsourcing a bunch of this stuff to the people who do it seems good. Because I'm looking at, our website was on WordPress, was a WordPress site
Mhm.
as far as a interface. We went with Bluehost, and with one website for $3.95 per month right now, you get 50 gigabytes of web space, you get unlimited, you get,
Yeah.
that's 5 email accounts, but if you go to $5.95 per month, you have unlimited email accounts.
Yeah.
You've got
That's
folks
right.
that are dealing with the back-end security stuff, and which is one step, which it sounds like that's all AVNet does. They're not in there actively managing anything, they're just doing that. That's what, that's $72 a month versus
Right.
whatever we had there. I would expect for $5,400 a year from a hosting service, you had an easy user interface, you had as much storage as you need, you had as many emails as you needed, and you actually had people actively doing just doing minimal things on the website in terms of analytics and things like that.
Yeah.
So should we put together bid specs and put this out to bid to get some idea of what that would cost and what that would entail?
I think that's a good first step to know where we're at. We know what we may want, but, right now we're limited by budget,
Right.
but we don't know what the costs are for other different sites, so I think we need to know that.
Well, and there may be someone cheaper that doesn't bid. So it would probably, I think, be coupled with research on top of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
request.
Right. Well, I think a lot of times the bid process is getting information too, and, you know, finding out what services are available out there and who is available to provide those services too. So,
What's the threshold for bid? What is the dollar amount?
3,500.
3,500?
You know what it is?
is
Yeah.
it?
It's
Thought we
1,000 to
raised
get 3 different quotes, it's 1,000. To actually put it out for RFPs, it's 3,500.
Oh. I thought we had changed it because we had a bunch of stuff coming to us that we kept having to approve, like a lot of small
Mhm.
things, and then we said, let's raise it.
Yeah.
So that might have actually changed. I want to say it was
Okay.
about a year and a half
Maybe.
ago. Were you on the council during that discussion?
That's 2 years.
So
yeah.
in the past 2 years, that might have changed.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm quoting the charter book, so
It
Yeah.
if you
probably
guys
hasn't
do
been
ordinances,
updated.
it hasn't for like 5-6
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, it hasn't been updated, I don't think. But yeah, because we had a bunch of small things coming through, and I think it was Mike was like, "Why are we dealing with all these little things? Why can't they just go, you know, and go and do it?" So we raised it.
Yeah.
Um,
So
But
what I've been
yeah,
finding
so-
in town is that we entered into contracts years ago, and it was state of the art then,
Just roll over,
like
roll
our
over,
internet.
roll over.
We
Yeah.
had 10 by 1, and it was costing us $99 a year. And we upgraded to 100 by 10 for $84 a year. So it's cheaper and 10 times as fast to go to the current technology. So, and the website's probably falling into that category.
Yeah.
I would say it definitely falls into that
Yeah.
category. It
2
seems
gigs.
incredibly expensive for the limitations.
2 gigs.
12 years ago, 2 gigs was a ton. No one would ever need any more than that.
Yeah.
You know, but
First
download
computer was a
speeds
kid
were
from
90.
with 40 kilobytes of memory. You know,
Yeah.
that's it.
TRS 80 Model 1 Tandy Corporation,
Yeah.
1978.
Yeah.
So right now, you're gonna look at the cost of the current emails
Mhm.
to nail that down and find out what that is. We'll think about putting all this out to bid, but I think in generating a bid document, it's gonna go back to that idea that Vaughn was talking about of what do we want it to do, because you have to be able to tell people what you want. You said the JMG program is coming to the town offices, or that'll give you an opportunity to talk with the tech teacher.
Maybe.
Okay,
It's a different person, as one was saying, so
Okay.
I'll contact her.
alrighty, and maybe Howie, one thing that you and I can follow up on is kind of doing a search and trying to find out how Pittsfield is portrayed and what information is out there on other sites about the town of Pittsfield. Like from servicing groups and like Mid-May Chamber and other things like that, to try and figure out if there's work that we need to do there as far as like outreach to other places, updating information that they might have.
Yeah, it's all, everything I've seen so far is all website. PVCog goes to the website.
Yeah,
there's some
yeah, everything
economic
just
kind of
links back to it,
development.
and that's the easiest thing for them to do too.
Yeah.
Can someone also approach Mark and see if we can get some pictures, if we give him credit?
Yeah, I think he's said before that he would be willing to do that.
Okay, because, like you said, we're really low on pictures, so.
Yeah, he's got a wealth of them.
I've looked at his gallery,
Yeah.
so, but everything you click on says sample in gray across it, so I can't really steal
Well, if it's
anything
his,
off the
yeah,
site.
if it's his website, then all he has to do, if you see something that would work well in there, I'm sure if you emailed him and said, can we use it on the website, and, your name will be
Correct.
documented and credited and stuff.
Yeah.
Which we have a few of his out there already.
Yeah, and that's standard for photographers to do that, because they don't want people just grabbing it and doing that.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so
It's a good start.
what else? I think it's a good start. I think that we brought up a lot of things in the discussion today that we hadn't talked about before. Thank you, Ron, for your directed, what do you want it to do, because we hadn't really talked about that. We were just kind of literally looking at. So as far as what's on there now, do we want it just to kind of be there until we figure out other things, or do we want to start tidying this up to make it better than what it is? So that in the meantime, because if it takes us 6 months to figure this all out, that's 6 months of still having subpar, out of date stuff on there.
I think if it's a timepiece, you're probably better off. I think you're probably better off putting energy into the 6 months than into the. I mean, there's some stuff to touch up, like the maintenance, but
Right.
I mean,
Right.
it's a.
So focus on
You're-
getting things updated, like the Egg Festival information,
Yeah,
the bicentennial
clean it
stuff.
up a bit.
Clean up the dates and things, but leave all the rest of the
The
stuff as
structural
is
stuff,
until-
like it's such a
Yeah.
heavy lift.
Rather than
If we're really
redoing.
thinking of, transitioning to another platform or another website or something like that, I hate this to be redundant and just have to do all the work again.
Right,
Mm.
right. Or if it transfers easily, if we have some of that paring down done ahead of time,
Yeah.
does that,
Mm.
which, the egg or the chicken, which do you do first? Do you pare it all down and then say, okay, what's on there now is what we want? And then make the switch over to another site?
Well, a lot of
or-
it'll depend on time constraints for these two.
Right.
Yeah, well, I'd like to
Well, that's why I was
capture
wondering.
everything before we, because once we make the change and take our Pittsfield.org off of GovOffice and put it on somewhere else, I'm expecting GovOffice to flip the switch and we no longer have access to any of it.
Right.
So
Right.
I'd like to capture what we have now in anticipation of moving to a new platform.
Yes,
And
definitely.
update as we
Yeah.
capture.
Yeah.
I agree.
Kind
Yeah.
of fold that all into one big process, but it's going to be a big process.
I guess I was wondering, do we want to consolidate some of the information? And I'm not thinking about all the documents and stuff that are on there so much as the, like the Pittsfield Quality of Life has a lot of repetitive information that belongs more in business and labor than Pittsfield Quality of Life because it talks more about economic development. And then there's another thing in here, I can't remember, I looked at all of it at once. There's something else that had more about the, like I think was it the town manager under departments? I don't know, there was a whole write-up of like all the parks and stuff, and that, to me, belongs in Pittsfield Quality of Life versus
Yeah.
where it was, so it would be a matter of like shifting things so that it makes more sense.
Well, we could, this would make more layers, and I know you don't like layers, but if we took all of the, like, make an about Pittsfield section, and then under that, it has the quality of life and the business and
Mhm.
the economic development and
That would tidy
all
it up.
the other information, and then have like
It
a
would shrink this a
documentation
little bit.
tab where we have all our documents and information
Yeah, I
Maps.
think there are technical aspects that go into minutes and stuff like that, and then
Yeah.
quality of life is about what the town offers, and as far as, you're right, as far as businesses, parks, things like that.
Yeah.
but that would create more layers, like it might take 4 clicks to get to the minutes instead of 3 now.
Well, I'm just looking at, how do we get this? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And that's
There's
the
35 tabs on the
Right.
left-hand
Yeah.
side of the page,
That's the
that you
Yeah.
have to look through to find what you might or might not think you're gonna need. I don't know, that's what I'm getting at as far as
And
that
it's,
part.
and you mentioned at the beginning that it's alphabetical, and.
Some of it
and
is, some of
Some
it
of it is,
isn't.
but is it really logical?
Is it logical to do it alphabetically?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like energy, resources, and tips. That, I think, could just get put right underneath that citizens resources page. So there'd be something, take that right out and put it under citizens resources. That would be one thing. Maybe the health part goes under citizens resources, or maybe that belongs in quality of life, because it's really just talking about the hospital.
Mm.
If that's all it is it's talking about the hospital. do we need all of that information? Can we just link, there's a link there to the hospital webpage, but then we have 5 paragraphs describing the hospital and all the services. You know, do you want to read
Is
about
that
it here, or
necessary?
do you want to click and just go right to the hospital
and
website?
have them update
Yeah.
it so that
Yeah.
it's not
It
on.
goes
Right.
back to, like you said, let the people who are represented maintain their own content, which is
Yeah.
gonna, in the long
Yeah.
term, be better
Be-
for us
be
here.
simpler.
Exactly.
And managing that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, was this written in 2002 when our website first went up? And, you know,
Yeah, probably.
is there still that information? There's no dental clinic here in Pittsfield anymore.
No.
There's
Mhm.
Sebastic Valley Home Care. I don't think that's here anymore.
No, it's part of this.
You know, there's a lot of different, I don't know if the nursing home is mentioned in here, but that's not here anymore. So, you know, this, we're putting bad information out
Yeah,
by not having it updated.
It would
Plus-
probably be great to have that, so I know you've already been through a ton of stuff, you've already got a lot of legwork done. Probably sharing those little tidbits that Mike and I wouldn't know being new to Pittsfield would be
Yeah.
helpful as far
Right.
as some of that. And then I think with the archiving of the page, if we save it, we save the page and then we create a folder and we have whatever the documents were that were on that page saved to that folder in the
Yeah.
interest of the archive, we'd be able to populate that even if they pull a plug, right?
yeah.
Okay.
So one thing I add to this as a resource,
Mhm.
and honestly, I think it would be the best economic development money that Pittsfield's spent in probably 20 years, is that Design Lab in Millinocket. They have been working with the town of Millinocket as well as with the town of Lincoln, 2 mill towns that are basically having to redefine themselves, right? Design Lab is in Millinocket. They're basically like an advertising development agency. You can go online, I think they're at godesignlab.com or something, but they have gone through with the communities and worked on exactly what we're talking about, right? Like what Heather just talked about, which is we've had like 4 slogans that we use. What is the unifying vision of what the economic future of this town looks like? So they facilitated that discussion, and then they've also incorporated that. If you go to Millinocket and Lincoln's websites, Design Lab's been doing a lot of the development work for that, and the maintenance. They're beautiful, right? Like you go into Lincoln's, it shows some pictures right off. The first thing it does is it has a video about Lincoln and its drone footage going through Lincoln and a bunch of other stuff. In Millinocket, kind of same thing, but that's an entity that if a town puts something out to bid, you'd have to be very specific, you know, you'd have to have enough specificity, but they get rural Maine, but they're also not Pittsfield insiders that are jaded by our own bubble of what we think we are. And so like that is an entity, you know, and there aren't many out there like them, but I don't know how they were up at that economic,
Oh, yeah,
remember the
yeah,
rural
yeah.
Maine Peace event in Bangor a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But that's the type of effort, like if you're going to spend economic development funds on something, like that's the type of effort that I feel like is you're putting compost and manure in the soil to grow something, and it could be really beneficial, and then also take care of the website stuff. I mean, it'd probably be interesting to talk to Lincoln and Millinocket and say, how much of this, or even to talk to Design Lab, how much of this do staff have to maintain, and how much of this is what does that look like? Because there'll be Jessica Massey, M-A-S-S-E at Design Lab is the I think she's been spearheading those 2 efforts. She was the one who was at that event in Bangor, and I'm sure that she could give you like this is what the budget has been for these communities, this is what it has taken, etc. And I bet I'd tell you right now, if that was an effort that Pittsfield undertook through that type of process with that type of leadership, if you came to InSource and said, we would like money for this, InSource would give a substantive amount of money to help back that. And I'm sure if you went to the other like Pittsfield-based businesses that are here, that you would probably see that same type of support that would come back. So then you get into the point where it's like, we don't have to worry about budget line item piece because it's something that is recognized as a need and that folks are willing to come to the table for. So.
Right.
So I gotta run. Sorry.
Yeah, I have
Um,
a plan too.
She's gotta go fast.
No, I don't. I have people that do that. Okay, so for right now, we'll just leave the website as it is, except for maybe dates of things that are upcoming that should have current dates for the years. Put in it like the Egg Festival, and I don't even remember what.
Yeah.
Denise, I did do a whole list.
See you later.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Thank you,
Vaughn.
Ron, appreciate it.
A whole list just going through just my impressions as I went through the website page by page, because I'm relatively new too. I didn't look, like, I just noticed about the hospital text.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't pick up on that before because I'm just like, oh, okay, information on the hospital, on the health, that tab makes sense, but it doesn't belong there. In fact, I think I just gave it a check mark that it was there and that it was accurate. You know, but there's like things like we have under grants information, there's information about our Brownfields grant from 2009. I mean, it's 10 years ago now. Do we need that on there? The wind turbine and the solar retrofit, do we need that information on there? You know, it's just things like that. A lot of the FAQ information is actually elsewhere in the information, so I don't even know if we need that tab in there. The farmer's market has the wrong information because
Yeah.
they changed their dates last summer. There's one thing that I saw in a couple places. There's no information in here at all about the town hall streams. Like when you get into
Oh,
the
yeah.
town council part, there's no information on the town hall streams or
Just a sidebar.
the
Yeah,
on the front
fact that
page.
you can use credit cards at the town office now, like
Yeah,
under the
soon.
services.
Soon.
You
Not
know,
now.
it's still not up.
Soon, we got contracts to sign and get
Okay.
the equipment and all that.
Okay, so maybe have a
It's
tab
in
that says
process.
coming soon.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, just so when people are going in, if they're, you know, they know that it's coming because people are gonna start getting their fishing licenses and, you know, come April 1st, they wanna, you know, be ready. So if it's there now, it's advertising in advance
Mhm.
that it's coming, you know.
Sure.
Things like that. The tax maps ordinance, the ordinances, Ron had mentioned at the last meeting, they're incomplete, and I can give you this list if you want.
Please.
I would type it up, but you're just gonna have to look at my scribble.
I can deal with scribbles, mine are probably worse.
My own grant applications that I need to do. So I just added my Google business about that. I don't think
Yeah.
I added anything else in here. Yeah, the cemetery, all the project information that's listed is in detail for the 2004, 5, and 6 year projects. So you're going back 15 years.
Yeah, oh yeah,
You know, like, oh, we hope to have it finished in 2004. Okay. When was that written?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and then it's like, well, did we ever finish it? So, things like that. The building inspector, there's no name or direct number in there, and there's no links to any of the permits, like the permits. Like, you shouldn't have to come to the town office to get the permit, then go home, fill it out, get your
Yeah.
contract to sign, and then come back again. You should be able to click, print it off,
Download it.
fill it out, get all your contractor stuff together, and then be able to just turn it in. Just it's little things like that that would make the website that information hub.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that it makes it a useful
Yes.
information hub.
Yeah, that
I
is
think the
the
clerk
goal.
has the vital records request, but I agree that.
The vital
Yeah.
records
any
request is
sort
in
of
there, but that
form that
yeah,
they
any
could get from
form
town
that
hall.
people, you know, and then
Yeah.
maybe we don't have to have forms all over the town office.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because that can, you know, there's like this project can have ripple effects through how other things, like if we get this website to the point where you don't have to spend as much time maintaining it and updating it,
Mhm.
you know, that frees up your time. And so we have a
Definitely.
cost savings on the website cost of it as well as your time into it, or a
Yeah.
staff person's time into it. You know, if we can have everything, make it more user friendly, I guess. And then also, you know, less stuff to have available to people. I mean, obviously, if people don't have access to a computer or walk in and are looking for something, we'll give it to
Mhm.
them. But
Yeah.
if you can find it easily and you don't have to walk in the office and interrupt somebody's workday, just to get a form,
Right.
and
Mhm.
it's on the website, you know, it's a lot easier if somebody calls that you just point them to the website and then print it off at home. So there's lots of ways that this can impact stuff. But yeah. So that was my list that I just looked at
Thank you.
page by page. Yeah, do we want to set another committee meeting, or do we want to wait and see how, I'll take my notes up. I think, I'm glad Vaughn came, because he has
Yeah.
a different insight, as a business owner and somebody that's very familiar with, you know, the language that, where you're talking about gigs and stuff, because that's not my thing.
My suggestion would be to kind of, let's get some of the information as far as, you know, the emails, maybe do some research on what other sites might be available,
Yeah.
and then present it at the next council meeting
Yep.
as a report.
Yep.
And maybe get the feedback from other councilors or anybody in the audience at that time, and then set up a meeting for after that,
That sounds good.
you know?
Brainstorming is invaluable.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that part of this is getting the council to be more active in it and not just like giving a report and just saying, okay,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah,
and
it's a
having it
report.
stop there. It's a matter of creating
Yeah.
even if it's a 15-minute conversation within the council meeting of, you know, their feedback on that report that you're giving, you know, is pretty helpful.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have buy-in from the whole council, then whatever we want to do isn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah, and whether we do it as part of the regular reports to the council, or we make a presentation at the
Mhm.
beginning,
Mhm.
you know, think about that option too, you know. Kind of prioritize it as, you know, this is an important project for the town going forward. You know, we're trying to redefine the town. You know, we know that there are issues, and, you know, we're taking steps to try to improve it.
Proactive, yeah.
Yeah.
Proactive is so much better than reactive.
Yes.
I have done a lot of searches for images because I like to make collages and stuff.
Yeah.
The town report, the Egg Festival, that was a collage I made. And, there are a lot of pictures on the internet, but copyright issues.
Mhm.
There was one really good picture of a girls' sport team from MCI. They had just won a division championship or something. They were all, you know, looked really excited and everything. That would probably be something good to put up. And
Yeah,
But-
definitely.
getting to copyright. And even if we get pictures from Mark, on his site, he's got the sample through them.
Yeah.
And so you have to purchase them. I can't do that, and I can't prevent people from clicking on it and stealing it.
Right.
So that's something we have to consider if we get stuff from Mark, that will give him
Actually,
credit
you
and
can't.
everything?
Can't you do some coding type thing? Maybe with this you can't, but
Yeah.
there is a way that you can like try. Because I know I've tried to take pictures before,
Mhm.
and you just get a blank.
Yes.
something. You know, it doesn't come up as
There is a way to do that, and you need JavaScript access to
Okay,
it.
so that's a limitation within our current website.
Yes.
Well, but you're also gonna be able to screenshot it, so wherever there's a door, there's a way behind
There's
it.
always,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
always a
Yeah.
way, and people know in digital, that are doing digital photography, that that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, but maybe it's a matter of we contract with him
Um,
to have him do specific things for the town. If we
Sure.
have specific shots that we're looking
Mm.
for, you know, maybe that's, you know, or prominently display across the photo, you know, Mark Schubert photography or something
Yeah.
like that. I don't know. There's ways to work around it, and I think that's a conversation to have with Mike, or Mark, because I'm pretty sure, you know, he's well aware of the issues around
Yeah.
having digital photos out there and stuff.
Sure.
And he might know a way.
He might know a way, yeah, to make sure that it's protected and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, so project posting. Okay, so I'll type this up and I'll try and send it around to everybody before Tuesday's meeting,
A week from Tuesday.
a week from Tuesday. No, today's the Tuesday.
A week from
It's
today?
a week from today.
Yeah.
No, next
No.
week.
No, there's one extra.
There is one more
There's
week.
extra week, yeah.
That's right, we had 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Sec-
Fifth.
fifth?
Yeah,
Second's a Saturday. Yeah, the second's a Saturday, so Tuesday's gonna be.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Bowl's
you.
the third, so I know that new Sunday.
So you're having an ordinance committee meeting tonight?
Tonight at 6, I think we
Can I-
said 6 o'clock.
Can I show you how to turn on and off the video?
Yes, but.
Okay. More updates, man.
You got this, Mike.
Yeah.
How are you gonna see?
At least I'll be up to date after today.
What's that?
I said, at least I'll be up to date after today.
Hey, up to date is a good thing.
Yeah.
Coming back.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
See ya.
Yeah, you too, Howard.